Welcome to the Healing Bitch podcast. I'm Jackie Ortez, a psychic medium that has a penchant for all things spiritual. During this time with me, we will explore the world of energy and how it affects us all. Each podcast will address a question submitted from my listeners that I feel I have the authority to answer. So get comfy, throw on your headphones, and let's see what happens. Hey guys, welcome back to the Healing Bitch podcast. We have a bit of a follow-up episode. I had an interview with Alysha back in February, and that's when she was getting ready for her wedding. She had just moved to Sweden, and she manifested all of that using feminine energy. But today we're going to talk about a bit more of what it feels like, what it looks like, what your life is like being in that feminine energy. Because I know there are a lot of misconceptions about this. And especially as both of us, at one time you were a woman too, you're a woman still, but you were a single woman running your whole life.
Yes.
Like by yourself, just like I am. So it's so good to get that perspective from you. But before we get into all that, since we spoke, you got married in a castle, and I want to hear what that was like.
It was, people have weddings and they always have something to say like, oh, well, this didn't go right or this was a miss. Literally, I have nothing to complain about. Nothing. Again, surrendering, going with the flow, trusting, especially throwing a wedding in a different country where, yeah, I'll respond in English, but then I get a whole email back in Swedish and I'm like, what is this? Thank you, ChatGPT, for existing to help me out.
Oh, I didn't, I wouldn't even think about using ChatGPT for that, but that's so smart.
Oh yeah, to even when it came to like invoices and I'm like, what does this mean? When do I pay? What's going on? But the overall, I would say wedding week, because it was a week. Family came in on a Saturday. We got married on a Thursday, and it took place in Stockholm, in Sweden. So everyone arrived on from that Saturday on, trickling in from the day of the wedding, friends and family, and it was every day of just a new activity, a new thing to do. And meanwhile, I'm going through these activities, and I'm like, I can't even relax before the big day. Like, I literally have to be on days prior. But it was really great. My family loved Stockholm, so we did a lot of the sightseeing, all of that, met up with friends, had drinks here. Every day was just active. We then I arranged for a nice big bus, like a charter bus, to take everybody from the city to this castle that was about an hour outside of the city. But it was really nice. It was like a party bus. And I wanted to make it easy for folks. Like, you came all the way here, we'll get you to the castle. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's so nice of you.
Especially for most of them who this was their first trip to Europe. So like my mom, my sister's never been. So we went to the castle. We got married at Ronas Slot, which is about 30 minutes from the airport, the Stockholm airport. So if anyone after the wedding was leaving, I made sure it was really quick to catch your flight if you're leaving right after and get back to the city, no problem. Basically in the countryside of the area of outside of the city. It's more of like an estate-like castle, if you will. It's not like, don't think Game of Thrones, but a little bit more modern, and I say that lightly. It was really amazing. I mean, even when I was getting ready the day before, I wanted to make sure I got ready alone. So I did my own hair, I did my own makeup. I'm like, we're not spending these coins on this stuff. I can do it. And I remember getting ready. I have this nice big vintage mirror in our really pretty princess room, I would call it. And then outside you see like the grounds, the landscaping, the lake in the back. And I'm getting ready by myself, and I'm just like, before my mom and my sisters, who are my bridesmaids, before my maid of honor came in, and I had a moment where I was like, you fucking did this. this
Yes,
is
you did.
you. And I was pretty emotional throughout the entire wedding,
Mm.
but not because of like, oh, I'm getting married, you know, my family. Yes, of course, I was happy everyone's there, but I was so much more emotional, I would say, because it was such an acclamation. It was such a period of, do you see now? Do you see how you just shifting your point of view, accessing a different part of yourself energetically? Do you see how that works out in your favor? How your highest good is always known, how the divine feminine can lead you, you just need to trust, and what trusting has led up to. So that was a moment where I was getting ready and I was like, I'm trying to do my makeup, and I'm like, oh, oh god, yeah. But it was just and from then on, it was amazing. We had jacuzzis for everyone by the lake. We did cold plunges after the wedding. It was just a mix of, you know, Swedish music, Spanish music. We set our own vows. It was really a nice combination of the families even meeting for the first time, because
Mm-hmm.
our parents never met because of just being in the US and in Sweden. So it was such a nice celebration that really also, again, with the feminine, all of that whole process and all those emotions I was feeling. Let's face it, the women are the tone of an event. We are the vibe. And I just felt like I was just vibrant and just sharing all of this, and everybody was emotional, everyone was so happy, everyone was kept coming up to us and saying, oh my god, this is so great, I just feel so this feels so wonderful. And yeah, I could not have asked for anything better. I mean, I always preach, you know, queen energy. And then my
And
friends are
you
like, you
had queen energy.
understand that you get married in a castle too? I was like, oh shit, I didn't make that connection. So yeah, it really was the wedding I always want. The wedding I didn't know that I always wanted.
Mm-hmm. It was gorgeous. I was sending you comments when I saw the pictures. I was like, oh my God, this is
Yeah.
so amazing. And
Yeah. And
it's just so amazing that you got to manifest it too, because we talked about that before. And it just
oh,
really goes to show we can create anything.
and really following the winks from the universe, from God, from source. So the winks that you get to guide you to follow in this process of surrendering, of being more feminine, all of that, right? We're at the castle. It was our first trip there because I found this place on Pinterest. It was the first place I came across, the only place that we even looked at. And we're there at the barbecue. You know, we already experienced the spa stuff, the jacuzzi. We're eating now in the evening, and there was a band playing, really gentle band, like just like two people, acoustics. It was really nice. And they started singing this song called Josephine. Josephine's my grandmother who died when I was 5.
Mm.
So we're sitting there. And prior to even that, during that trip, I kept seeing her name on certain things, like a big boat named Josephine and all this. And I'm like, okay, okay, great. Grandma, you're here. Wonderful. Thank you. But then when we were eating and they're playing that, I was like, we got to sign the contract
You
now.
know,
It's
she was like, I love this place. You need to get married here.
Yeah, and she also to me is, and I say is because I believe our energy goes on and on. We never really truly
Mm-hmm.
fade away. She definitely is the epitome of divine feminine energy, especially from like the stories from all of my cousins. And you know, she was the titi that, you know, there were other aunts, but she was the one where you didn't say titi your first name, you just said titi and you meant her. Like that was like
Mm-hmm.
the respect everyone had for her. So yeah, we signed the contract, and literally it was a year. We were there in the beginning of July, we got married in July 2025. So yeah, it's really following those wings of guidance. I don't know how this is happening. I don't know really this is where it's going to be. Should I look for another place? Should we do this? I was not going to waste that energy. It feels good, it feels right. This is it.
Yeah. And it's just like, so in the last podcast that came out last Friday, I was talking about ego versus intuition. You really went with your intuition, which is being in mostly in the feminine, and you didn't flip into that ego being like, well, maybe it wasn't just a sign, it was just a coincidence. Like you were just like, okay, I hear this song, I saw that boat, I know you're here, thank you for confirming, and moved
That's
on.
literally all I needed. That was
Mm-hmm.
it. Done. I'm listening. And that's another thing is, even as you're manifesting, are you getting in the way of your what you're calling in? Are you playing the role of the human and the ego, thinking, no, I know better? You know better than the universe. Like
Mm.
you know better. That's when you have to put yourself in check when it comes to co-creating with the unseen, the unknown. That's really when the surrender truly kicks in. I didn't think I was going to be in Sweden. I didn't think I was going to have a wedding like this. I thought I was going to be in the city, doing my city girl thing, being a boss girl and do all that. And
Which is so masculine, by the way, being a boss girl.
it is. And I thought things were going to look so different. So with the feminine, it's like you said, very highly, highly intuitive. I mean, I think that's number one on my list. I have like a list here of like that I may put together on what I think the feminine is. And yeah, like intuitive is number one. I think that's why
Mm-hmm.
so many of the intuitives out there, majority are female, because feeling is our secret weapon. It's our power.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's even like, so the women in my family aren't openly spiritual. And I mean, like my mom and the generations beforehand. I don't know about my dad's side. I really don't know much about them. But for my mother's side, and even them who are like, think what I'm doing is crazy, they'll always be like, I think we should do this. I just have a feeling. I'm like, bitch, that's the same thing as what I'm doing. But yeah, women just have this like innate feeling that we need to get out of our own way and follow that feeling.
100%. And I think those older generations, they allow the fear to take over,
There's so much
especially,
fear.
yeah, especially my family too. Like they're highly intuitive. I have cousins who are psychic. I have other family members that used to do tarot cards and all that and did Reiki. And then all of a sudden, then they get to a part where they get afraid. And then
Hmm.
it's also being afraid of you're being afraid of your own power. You're being afraid of your own potential. And let's face it, the man might be the head of the household, but the woman is the neck. As
Yes, like in that movie. What's that movie? My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
yeah. And this is also what I see in a lot of family members that I have and other friends, their parents, where the woman is really like steering the course.
Hmm.
And it's all mostly through intuition and feeling. Uh she's creating stability in chaos. She is she is the one who's the glue. Like think of your grandmothers, my great grandmother. She was the glue. You came every Sunday to her house. If you didn't show up one Sunday, the next Sunday she'd be like, "Where were you?" And you freaked out because you had to have a reason, a good
That was
reason
good. Yeah.
why you didn't show up. And this is the unspoken power that women have. And if we utilize that more from a place that's not so controlling, because the control is the masculine, it is just it's life changing.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We have so much power to steer our lives and to be able to get the direction from source, God, whatever, to have those inklings. And I know like the little whispers that the universe have given me is where how I ended up even here. Like how I ended up literally in this, like it told me what day to come here to get this apartment. This apartment was not on the market.
Oh,
I was in San Diego for work and it was the end of February. And I was like, Spirit kept being like, March 6th, you have to go to Maine. And I was like, it's too early to look at apartments. I'm trying not to move. Like, my soul wanted to move middle of April, but my brain was like, just wait it out till the end of May. But my soul was like, for months, my soul was like, no, you need to leave. I was coming home like March 2nd from being in California for a week, and I'm supposed to like drive to Maine 3 days later. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to do it. Like, my mom was in San Diego with me. She wound up coming to Maine with me. I made some apartment appointments and I looked at them and I did not like any of the apartments. And my mom's like, oh, if you don't like anything, are you just going to stay in Jersey? I'm like, this is my first trip up here. Give me a break. But then the last apartment that I was looking at, the property manager was like, she's like, oh, well, I did just take pictures of this one apartment. Do you want to go see it? It was the cheapest, the biggest, and the best condition. And here I am, and I moved April 12th.
Ding, 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 ding.
I listened. Like, I think about it, and I'm like, what if I let the thought of the overwhelm of going up to Maine March 6th overtake me? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what would have happened? Would I have moved in the same period? Would I have, like, this apartment is so perfect for me because it's 2 bedrooms, walk-in closet, washer dryer, living room, reading room, open kitchen, like a parking space right in front of my door.
Everything
It's
that
everything
universe.
except a dishwasher.
Oh, but
Which
everyone.
hopefully I date someone that likes washing dishes or I get a portable one. One of the two. I need to obtain a dishwasher either way.
Not the end of the world, but it ticked all the big boxes. It ticked all the big boxes you
All the
needed.
big boxes and more. I didn't think it's so quiet. The landlord, I heard, never raises the rent. He brings out the garbage cans and the recycling. I don't even have to put that on the curb.
Thank you, masculinity. Thank you.
Yes. I'm like, oh my God, this is fantastic. But it's the whole move has allowed me, since I got that inkling and I knew I needed to move here anyway, according to my astrocartography. But I was like, okay, I'm just going to let things start to come to me. And for me, that's living in my feminine instead of, of course, you have to take action. You have to do things. You can't just like sit on your couch and be like, feminine energy, someone come and clean my dishes. Like, we have to live. We're
Yeah,
humans. We have to live.
you have to
But
take inspired action. You have to.
yes, inspired action. That's exactly it. And even the 2 places that I'm doing readings at now, I showed up and I talked a little bit about myself, and they both were like, do you want to do readings out of here? I didn't even ask. They asked me.
I
And
mean,
it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So I know that a lot of people in my life that have been listening to the podcast are like, it still confuses me, this feminine energy and how to move into it. And I'll say to them, I'll be like, you just have to allow things to come in. But I don't think I'm the right person to explain it. So that's why I wanted to have you on again. I was like, you could probably give more of like a definitive answer and some actions that people could do.
yeah, I mean, so yeah, I did put together a list because I knew we were going to chat, and I was like, all right, how do I define this? What have I done? How do I define it in a broader sense? But I would say, like, as just a one liner in a way, the feminine. I'll tell you what she isn't. She's not performative. So that's another thing that I think is a bit of a, again, point of view kind of change because we're used to being the good girl, right? The good
Mm-hmm.
girl follows the rules. A woman in her divine feminine essence creates her own rules, even if it pisses people off. If she's coming from an intent, a positive intention, game on. Okay, we're not doing anything to spite. You're not being a bitch, but you're not performative. And when you're not performative and you're doing everything from vulnerability, which to me is just authentic presence,
Mm-hmm.
the feminine becomes a force. So the list that I have together, just like going down, the feminine is intuitive. meaning she knows deeply, doesn't need to over explain. For some reason, like you said, when you moved, you just knew. I came to Sweden for the first time when I met my fiance within like an hour, I was like, I knew this person was going to be special, didn't know how.
Mm-hmm.
You just know. You feel first and then you act second. So my new eyes is my entire emotional body now. How does the situation feel? Because you could be out on a date with someone, let's say, who looks really good. And then you're like, I don't know, your body is telling you something, like you're getting the butterflies and you're feeling anxious. That to me is an anxiety slash could be trauma response. It's not something to be glorified. How does it feel? And that's why a lot of women are in like these situationships or going back and forth because their eyes are confused. They're confusing what they're seeing and what they're feeling, and they're trying to make sense of it. And in trying to make sense of that, then you're in the situationship or relationship for I don't know how many months to a year, and you're like, it doesn't work out, and you wonder why. Your body's been trying to tell you. So she feels first. Creates beauty in the middle of chaos. It goes back to the epitome of those grandmothers or those women, those aunts who just really are the glue for the family with and don't are not yelling or not shouting or not demanding order. Everyone just has this innate respect because in the middle of whatever ups and lows, even in a family dynamic, the feminine holds it together to where the family had no idea about hard times, or we didn't feel like we were without. I didn't feel like I had a childhood that was without because the mother was there to give so much and
Mm-hmm.
expand so much of that. She holds space. I mean, if you feel deeply, you don't while you feel deeply, you don't need to feel like you need to be fixed or be seen. So while you're feeling things, you don't need the validation. I feel good. I feel like I look great. I don't give a shit who's looking at me. I don't need the likes on Instagram. I don't need anyone to say I'm doing a good job or I'm a good girl. No, I'm feeling so deeply within myself, and and then in turn hold space for others without that judgment. There's no validation needed. You don't need to explain yourself to me, and I do not need to explain myself to you.
Mm-hmm.
She nurtures, she's in flow. You are not rigid. Like, even if you were to have stuck to your plan, right? About, oh no, I gotta look at May. But no, you are flexible. Let me just go and see what happens. Let me go with the flow of it all. And even with flow, I like to think of, especially for women who are looking for partnership, they want romance in their life. I want to be romanticized, and they hear romanticize your life. When you're in the flow state, and you're just going for the wing of it, and then you say, wow, I actually had a really good time today, or today was a really nice day, I didn't expect that. That's romance, the unexpected. If you're going to be so rigid, and when you go out with someone that's, let's say, on a date, and you expect so many things, where's the room to be romanticized? So
Mm-hmm.
take that aspect into your life when you're doing it for yourself. Where are you allowing the surprises to pop up? Are you even having any space for allowing for them to pop up? Are you allowing yourself to be in awe every now and then? Or do you need to be in this rigid control? And that's when you get in the way of what's actually trying to make its way to you. What else do I have here?
Well,
She's
that
present.
I want to actually chime in on that because I can that hits me with the rigidness and actually the feelings. So first, I went on a date like 3 weeks after I moved here, and he was a bit older than me, and I went through like all the feelings and all the processes in my head as I was on this date with him. I was like, okay, my body's feeling really anxious around him. I was like, that's not a good sign. And at the same exact time, across the table, the guy saying to me, he's like, you have such a good vibe, I feel so calm around you. And it was like ding ding ding, energy vampire.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he's already siphoning my my energy.
Yep.
And I know it might sound dramatic to some people that don't like think about it. And they're like, what do you mean? The guy's like siphoning your energy. I'm like, he's taking my calm, good vibe energy. And that's why I feel off right now. Like my energy is not aligned with him at all. And I did go a little bit into my old ways. And I kept talking to him for like it lasted 2 days. And then I got so much of like the ick from him. I just sent him a message. I'm like, we are not aligned for a romantic connection. But
No.
that was one thing. And then recently I've been going to a lot of sound baths here because I was like, of course, I'm going to meet somebody where I enjoy meeting them. The first guy I met through a dating app, and then I like kind of like stopped the dating app. But then I met someone at a sound bath, and it's not even like met someone because I don't know what his intentions are.
Right.
But we were talking, and I was just mentioning how like I really like the place I've been going and the community and everything. And he says to me, he goes, "Well, do you want to meditate together sometime?" And I was like, "Oh,
Sounds like
that's
a date.
different." I was like, I don't know what his intentions are, but I wound up leaving without giving him my number because I know myself. I
Um,
knew I was going to see him again because this is the second sound bath we've went to at the same time. So I knew he was going to go to the following one. But I also knew that I would overthink, I would analyze, and I would freak out. And I was like, I need to just give myself some space. I know I'm going to see this person again.
yeah.
And
And if you're meant
to
to see it, you will.
exactly, I have another sound bath I'm going to tomorrow. So I was like, I'll probably be there. And I'll be like, hey, sorry, I forgot to give you my number. I like spaced out. But it shows you too like a little bit of like the first time. I hate dating apps. I don't know why I went back on it. I was like maybe Maine would be good, but then I physically went out with something that's in alignment with myself and in flow with myself, and then I had a nice conversation with the guy. That's what we're going to say because we don't know what's going to turn into or if anything, you know.
Right. Oh, and if anything, it's just showing you what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that we meet, the places, everything's happening to us, for us, by us, in my personal opinion. And sometimes you just need that one example that, even if you're not sure what it will lead to, if anything at all, you need that contrast. So that was the perfect contrast, especially from the other guy that you went out with. Could feel like it was not going anywhere. Ugh. And then you have someone else that you're meeting about, wow, I like this feeling. I want to feel this comfortable or have this type of connection, an aspect of this with my future partner. It's like literally meeting people, and then you're like, it's like a catalog. I like this about you. No. Oh, I like that. I want more of that. And so, rather than talking about like the bad dates for so long to the point where it's like you're almost asking for more
Mm-hmm.
of that. So it could just be the universe winking at you saying, hey, do you see what this feels like? How does that try this on for size? And that, I think, is the most what I like the most. Those little, again, a little peek.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I like that. All right. What else can I learn from you? What's on this list?
Well, the one last thing I will say is, when it comes to the feminine, she is an emotional alchemist. So as women, we go through pain monthly. For many of us, or if not, we all have at some point, right? Where we're going through our monthly cycle. We know what that feels like. There is literally death and rebirth happening within the woman. It's part of our DNA structure. Why would that only apply in the physical? It's happening in how we function in the world. So when we do experience pain and heartbreak, that we can navigate that so well simply by not closing this off, keeping the heart open all the time. Heartbreak, disappointment, whatever. All right, I am learning and I'm going to transform this for my highest good. And that's why, the sacral area of the sacral chakra is like innate to us, creation. It is you're constantly in these shifts all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And if you can take that into your daily life, at work, whatever the case might be, you won't act brand new anymore. It doesn't mean that you won't hurt, but it's the ability to then transform all that into wisdom that I think is the most powerful thing we can do as women, and which is why, again, going back to the ideal mothers of the world, the grandmothers and so forth, the wisdom that they carry that, again, does not need to be rigid and controlled. It is just innately part of who you are. It's the woman who can turn their tears and use that water to create flowers. It's just
Mhm.
how we function. It is our default setting. But yeah, I mean, that's really the gist of it. I would just say to anyone who's like, it's still like, I'm not sure. The feminine doesn't look, she feels. And it starts with you feeling how you feel on a daily basis. You wake up one day, you feel like crap. Go ahead and feel into it. Get deep into why. You are doing mirror work, and the first day you do it, you're like, oh, I feel great. The next day you're doing it, you're like, you notice all these imperfections and all this, and you're getting in your head. I like to ask myself challenging questions when I start to feel that way about myself. Why am I thinking this? And more importantly, why do I believe it? When
Mhm.
you start to ask yourself, why do I believe these thoughts that come up about myself as a woman that are so harsh? And you get to the root cause of it. And then you realize that it's all bullshit anyway.
It's
So
all an illusion.
it's all an
It's
illusion.
all an illusion.
Exactly. And when you start to feel more deeply, you start to recognize shifts. Meaning, when you were on that date with that guy and you realize, oh, there's a shift happening. I don't like this, whatever. When you met this other person, oh, I like this. You can almost like feel into, I don't want to say the future, but you can feel into what it's like to dabble into that in a way, that other timeline or that other road, if you will. And I would say that the feminine also reminds us that feeling is its own form of intelligence. We live in a world now where it's all data and you got to show the receipts and you got to prove this and prove this. Simply feeling is the highest form, in my opinion, of intelligence. You have a biological computer called your body. Your emotions are the notifications. And as a woman in their divine feminine essence, those notifications you get and understand and you catch on more and more and more, the more you start to honor how you feel all the time. And that really comes down to then you coming across as authentic as possible. Authenticity is the name of the game. But what comes with that, to be authentic, I always just picture this cage over my chest. If it's like this, I'm not being authentic. If my heart's open, I totally am being receptive. That is what's going to get you the clarity, what's going to get you to recognize the shifts and start to feel more deeply into the amazing woman that you are.
I love it all. I feel like every time I talk to you, I learn so much, and it's nice now because now I'm in that place of living in my feminine. So it's
Yeah,
like, oh, I can fine tune it this way and fine tune it that way. But no, you're right. When I talk, we are the center of our families. We are the center of the world. When I work with women doing Reiki especially, I'm always like, look, you want to change your environment, you want to change how your family is, you have to change first. I was like,
yeah,
you are the center, you are the core. Everything plays out around you by how you're thinking, how you're feeling, how you're acting. If you think everybody's frustrated, that must mean that you are frustrated. Like,
yeah,
if everybody's being negative, that must mean that you're in a negative mode right now. You have to examine that and live by example
hmm,
for everybody else, because it's like your energy starts and then it just pings to everyone else. We're so powerful as women, but I guess my one question is, because it's not examined that much, like, what do you, and I don't know if you even really have an answer for this, but if a man wanted to be a bit more in his feminine, like, what would that look like?
I think for men, it is more of an emotional intelligence that they would have to have because they're so logic driven, they're so in the mind. So they start here. It's almost like the opposite. They start here, then they feel. So it requires them to be around or be brought up by this type of energy, this type of feminine energy. Just understand that if they have a good relationship with their mother and they have sisters, that's usually easy peasy. But if not, it can be a bit conflicting at sometimes. It feels like conflict almost when they are trying to either be with someone who is more in their divine feminine essence or trying to be more feminine themselves. I would say for themselves, it's more of the emotional intelligence, understanding a bit more. It's more of the understanding how the woman's cycle is, understanding the the need to hold space and allow for the emotions to present themselves, and then really dissecting it from that standpoint. So it's understanding, I'm feeling this, okay, I have to break this down, and then it will then I will feel it within my body. I would say that. And then if they're talking to or in a relationship with a woman, and let's say they're not at their healthiest masculine, they're still trying to, that's another thing too, for them to interact or embody any type of healthy feminine attributes, that would require them to be a healthy masculine. Otherwise, they're going to be in complete dysfunction, and they're going to be that guy who then is so into their feminine where they want 50-50 with everything. So that's something that's a red flag. So he would have to be in his healthy masculine in order to even hold space for the healthy feminine. When women, though, back to your point about, our energy is contagious and everything like that, and even with that date with that guy who was like an energetic vampire, one thing to look out for when you are in your divine feminine essence and you're interacting with an unhealthy masculine man is that you're probably going to terrify him, or he's going to want to eventually control, siphon your energy, because the feminine is intuitive, she's grounded, she knows who she is, she's honest, she keeps it real. And this can come across as like untamed or like, oh, she's out of control, I don't know. That's your biggest indicator that the man that you're talking to is not on the same level as you are. If they can engage, hold space, play ping pong with you back, like
Mm-hmm.
rather than feeling like you're just doing it on your own, then that's a good sign. But usually your clarity, the divine feminine's clarity, is the brings out the fear in the masculine, and then eventually they become a little bit more avoidant or want to tiptoe around and almost control and hone you or push you down, dim you in a certain way. So while we are, yes, very giving in nature, nurturers and all of that, you have to have boundaries at the same time if it's not being reciprocated. To the other side of that, if you are starting to step into your divine feminine, you're starting to awaken it yourself, and then you meet a healthy masculine man, it will probably initially terrify you because you are now waking up to this, not being used to protector, provider energy. You're not used to anyone being able to hold space for you, to ground you, and that can scare you. And that's why a lot of women run away from the nice guy.
I understand. It terrifies me.
Yeah, the vulnerability is a test at that point. The universe is testing you. It's the biggest wink in the world. Can you receive? Can you soften? Can you lean back, lean in, or whatever? Because if you're awakening to your divine feminine essence, it's because you've been hyper masculinized this entire time. You've been control, control, control. So that was the biggest shift for me as I was, diving into this more and meeting someone who did what they said, who had provider
Yeah.
energy, who was very secure. I found myself a lot of times in my head, like arguing it with me, like, okay, just relax, just let it happen. Okay, we're gonna go.
I can understand. No, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, I hope to have that. I hope to be arguing with myself
Yeah,
soon to let
and you
someone do something the way they want to because they're just doing it for me. Like, you know what I mean?
and that's when we both, the feminine and masculine are two sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we both have masculine and feminine energies. One's more dominant, if in my opinion, if you're a female, the other is more dominant if you're a man. But it's like the yin and yang almost. We both come together. We have little aspects of each other, but those qualities. But it's a two-party system that creates that true balance. And if you have that in a relationship, my God, I mean, you will start, then you have more room to discover more of your feminine energy. I mean, earlier today, I was water painting. Like, what the hell? Like,
You're like, what is this new hobby I have? Water painting.
water painting. I made candles the other day. Like,
Oh, that
I
sounds
was just
great.
a lot harder than I thought, or maybe I just didn't have patience to let it dry.
No,
But
they're hard. It's hard to make candles. I don't know how people do it.
me either. Like, shout out to those businesses. That's a lot of patience and just like being those these type of hobbies are like softness in training because you have to
Mhm.
be patient. You have to be in flow. You have to be slow. You have to just go with it. Okay, the wax is going to do this. All right, the water is going to go this way. Fine. It's a good practice, I would say, even to step into your feminine, to find softer hobbies. Like, get out of kickboxing for a minute, try yoga. If you're an artist or you like art, you take a step away from just like drawing and actually work with moving paint that you can't control. It's these things that almost exercise that muscle of the brain to be patient, to be soft, to be in your own thoughts, and to not be in control.
Yeah, I just did belly dancing for 6 weeks.
Ooh.
And now I'm going to join another belly dancing place in Portland in probably September because I want to do a recital.
Oh,
I'm
no,
like 7 years old. I'm like, I want to dance recital. But I was
I,
like, it would be so fun to just like perform for fun and get out there. And yeah, I do belly dance. I went back to Pilates, which is my go-to and favorite up here. I'm thinking what else, what other things I've been going to. I've been surrounded by women up here. It's absolutely wonderful, and different groups of women already. So yeah, I agree with you. Softer hobbies, yes. Get out of kickboxing, get out of hit classes,
get out of
and it's so bad for your body.
what do they call it? CrossFit. Just take a break.
Yeah, take a break. Do like adult ballet. No, you don't have to do that, but take a bar class. You want
Yeah,
to challenge yourself? Take bar, and
yeah.
that's more in the feminine. But no, I love all of these tips that you gave because it's you explained everything to me at least in a way that's so much more tangible
Hmm.
than the way I can explain it, because I feel like sometimes I'm a little too airy fairy when I try to explain my feelings and the way that I live to people that are like
Oh,
just
I think that's the when it comes down to describing this, because a lot of people, especially on like TikTok and all that, it's very airy. I hate fluff. Okay, I'm a content marketer by day. I write all the time, and I have to be very direct in it. And
mm-hmm,
I like to be instructed directly. Yes, there are aspects to this that are going to just be you and how you feel. But if you can at least get like the building blocks to getting there or steer someone in the proper direction, and if they just get that far, they'll be fine. That's kind of
yeah,
my approach. It's no more fluff.
no,
There's enough of it out there. And I guess when it really takes you to be on the journey to know, and really, yes, you're speaking more to your experiences, but how can I then broaden it out? I always think about like, how do I make this lens bigger? How do I zoom out on this? If I just zoom out on this, what exactly was done? What exactly was the result? And that's truly how you help people to the point where they can digest the information and actually take something that's actionable and go with it.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I think it always starts with the decision and making the
Yeah,
decision to do it, and
that
then doing
that
the
is,
inspired action.
yes. And another thing with the fear that goes back to like what that we were talking about earlier with like older family members or old people from our older generation. There is this fear of making the wrong choice. I don't understand that, because when you simply make a choice from your authentic state, from your heart, from just that feeling, anything, when you just make a choice from the purest and highest intention for yourself, there is no right or wrong choice. Your external world will conform to your choice. That is
Mm-hmm.
it. And think, especially with the older generations, who I think had different other hurdles when it came to what femininity looked like at the time for them. there was or were these other kinds of consequences. Women now have a different level of freedom. Women now, can do much more without,
Mm-hmm.
being given the side eye. And that's a new concept now, and I'm grateful to be alive in this day and age for that reason. But there's this level of consequence that they fear, and some people still have it to this day because we pass that on generationally.
Yep, through our DNA.
Yeah, there is no wrong choice. If you want to go to Maine, you go to Maine. If you want to move to Sweden and you had a good time, you fucking go. And the worst case, you go back home. What, you're not going to die. The world's not going to end. You still have, if you still have your friends, your family, your health, whatever the case might be, there is always things are always shifting. Things are always changing. Nothing is ever still. And that's another thing. If you understand that as a woman in her divine feminine essence, understanding that everything's constantly afloat, everything is changing, you start to go down the river a lot easier than trying to avoid all the rocks that may or may not hit you along the way. So yeah, there is no incorrect choice. It's simply the choice that you make, and then your external world saying, okay, the universe, you decided to do that, perfect, we'll do this too. Well, okay, we're gonna go here, we're gonna go here. That is it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And fear, pushing through fear equals being brave.
You can't be brave if you didn't face fear. It wouldn't
No,
exist.
not at all. Like I remember flip flopping between like fear and excitement, like moving here, but it wasn't fear that I was making the wrong decision. It was like, it was just my body. I'm doing something I'm not used to.
Yeah, it's
So,
like you jumped from a plane, you're
yeah,
you're
of course you're going to have fear.
you're like, I have nothing to hold on to. I have nothing to hold on to. But that's an illusion in itself. You've never had anything to hold on to.
No,
No.
everything could go away no matter where you are in a second. But
Exactly.
we could talk about that forever. But okay, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
talking about the feminine part, and getting into your feminine side a little bit more, and tell the audience how to find you and watch some of your great content.
Yeah, so I'm on YouTube. I did take a little bit of a break before the wedding, so more content is to come. But my YouTube is I am Parker Phoenix, and my Instagram is also Parker Phoenix. So Instagram Parker Phoenix, YouTube I am Parker Phoenix.
Yeah, and everything will be linked in the description of this podcast. But thank you so much again for your time. I'm so happy for everything that has happened. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you soon.
Bye.